Hello, hello, everybody. Buenos dias, mi amigos. And welcome to the stream. Hold on, just making sure everything is set up and is ready. Just checking my stuff. Hold on. Yep, we're live. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully you can't see me, because all I have is the cyberpunk pixel art up. So anyways, this is a video topic that I've kind of wanted to talk about for a while, and I haven't really figured out how exactly to put it, to talk about it, but, I needed somebody to bounce off, so with me today is the indomitable and unsinkable Settler's Lament. How's it going?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I believe what we're here to discuss today is part 2 of the
No, sadly, not at all. Because, yes, as people have already posted in the chat, this is not... I am not becoming Buddhist. I've looked, I've looked up some very cursory stuff about Buddhism, but I am certainly no expert, nor have planned to become an expert on one of the world's great religions. It's just that there's certain aspects of it that I find are quite applicable now to how we in the West are... oh, jeez. People are saying I'm too low. Let me see if I can turn this up. Is this better? Can you hear me more now? Okay, good. Hello, sorry, I'm here. Just talking right to the microphone. So anyways, the point is that a lot of the more recent political events has... Oh, so people are saying, Settler, can you turn yourself up? Can I turn you up? All right.
I don't. How's
Good. It's perfectly loud enough for me. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, sorry if this is gonna be a bit rambly. That's kind of why I wanted somebody to. People are still. All right. I'm just gonna ask the chat. It'll take a minute for people to. Respond. But is Settler's Lament good now? Anyways, I wanted to make this because a lot of the more recent political events have been kind of piling up, and it's really showing how people are still saying you're too quiet. I mean, I can't turn him up on my end. It's just because he sounds perfectly loud enough for me. I guess you guys could turn up your volumes, but... I'm not sure what I can do. Hold on. Alright. Try it now. Settler, can you talk? Settler? Hello? Alright, try it now.
hello, testing. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, sorry. I had my volume all the way up, and your volume way down. So hopefully this is going to be better. No, you don't need to scrape at the top of your lungs for the rest of the stream. Is this better, everybody? Can't hear him. Jeez. Alright. Is this... Let me turn him up even more.
Hello, testing. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
It says you're still quiet. I mean, I can't turn you up much more.
I mean, I use this same mic on Discord all the time.
No, I can hear you perfectly fine. Why can't they?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like, I have my volume down.
I mean, we could like restart the stream and use StreamYards.
Oh wait, people are saying it's better. Alright, I'm just gonna turn up a little more. I'll blow out my own eardrums for your sake, my wonderful audience. Slightly better, but still quiet. All right, I'm turning everything up all the way. I'm just going to turn up my volume. The volume for me is going to be way down. I'm turning you up to maximum. All right, try talking now.
Well, I mean, all I really have to say is it's quite wonderful to hear that you have a wonderful audience, apparently, because notoriously my audience is the stupidest audience in the world.
Mm-hmm. I routinely forget I have an audience. Because Alright, can people hear me? Can you people hear Settler's Lament now? Like, he is almost clipping on my end. Okay. Sorry about that. You'll have to... Alright, people are saying that's great. It's good. Good. Okay. Alright, so... The viewers can use their volume... Blah, blah, blah. I do not need to turn myself down. I can be a little further away from the microphone. Oh, shoot. Alright. I'm gonna go a little away from the microphone because I don't know how else to do this. Alright, this is not going to be audio. This is not going to be Boomer audio, the stream. Alright, I'm a little away from the microphone. Is this better? Thank you.
You sound pretty quiet to me. I mean, except...
Oh, goodness sakes. Alright. Well, okay, if I'm too... Let me turn this a little bit down for me. Okay, I'm gonna try this now. Alright, am I too loud now? I am a good ways away from the microphone. Do I like the Wind? That's one of the few Ghibli movies I haven't seen yet. Okay, I think we've got it. I'm just going to not move my head at all from the microphone, and I'm not going to adjust any of the audio, and until... Alright, people are saying it's fine. Alright, sorry about that. Quit the stream, sort the sound. Shut up. We're good. So anyways, all of this started when Fire Nation attacked. No. So, you know how there's the meme of, I support the current thing, Settler?
Yeah, of course.
This is kind of going off on that, and it's kind of how we have the, how we deal with a lot of political discourse. And it ties into, a few weeks ago, or like a month ago, our good friend the Distributist was on Adam and Sitch's stream, and if I have advice, because I think Dave is going to watch this at some point, or if he does, I was going to say, look, please stop bringing them up every stream you do, because you keep doing it for the past few weeks, and you won't, it's like, look, because I listened to their debate with him, like their last conversation, all I could thought, and it was pretty hard to listen to just because how insufferably abrasive Sitch seems, and like, the criticism that Dave has, and it's something I've definitely picked up, is the fact that, you know, these quote-unquote based centrists, they have this problem where, you know, they'll make fun of woke progressives all the time, yet the second that anybody criticizes their own worldview or suggests that, like, something actually be done, these fence-sitting losers, will just shriek and cower in terror. And I think I'm imagining we're going to see this with the whole Roe versus Wade thing, where these base centrists are all going to come out of the woodwork and say, no, we don't actually want to take responsibility for, you know, casual sex. We would never want to do that. But, I
mean, you know, it depends. I mostly follow normicons, but I still follow some of the, like, sort of skeptic crowd. I haven't seen anything from Sargon and Roe recently. I just haven't watched anything, so I don't know what his take is. I'm pretty sure he's anti-Roe, though. But, like, I mean, Jeremy, what's his name? Jeremy from The Quartering. I know he said that he's pro-choice, but he still supports overturning Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like very centristy. So I mean, certainly what I think you're describing is going to happen with a lot of them, especially the sort of center-left centrist crowd. But from what I've seen, there's a fair amount of the more center-right centrists that aren't going to that aren't opposed to overturning Roe.
Although the thing is that, because it links to, from my own life, where I work in a very kind of blue-collar environment, even though technically I am not a blue-collar worker. There's a phrase that I've heard distributists use a lot, and it's not something he made up. I just can't remember who came up with it, but the acronym is the DADS, and it stands for, I'll change it slightly for the more sensitive-eared people in the audience, but the Deraciated American Deadbeats. And it describes this kind of group of men that I become very familiar with, where they will generally be pretty conservative or right-wing, but more in the sense of like, they like dunking on the progressives and talking about how much they hate Joe Biden or they hate Obama and all of that. But like, if you actually ask them about anything that has to do with any deeper political ideas, they just kind of shirk away because, they're not even midwits, they're just kind of stupid. But the thing is that the three things that what they most care about is they don't want things to mess with their sports ball, with their cheap beer, and their porn. And so if you talk about, pornography's dangerous, they just start screaming, or they start reeing at you. And but more broadly, and how this ties to Buddhism, because I know I've just been kind of rambling on a little bit, but it's that how so many people, especially people on the right, seem to deal with the current thing is, it reminds me a lot of kind of one of the central tenets of Buddhism is the idea that because of our attachment to impermanent things, we just kind of get trapped into the cycle of, like, into this kind of rat race cycle where we can't see anything bigger, we can't see anything outside of our desire for, impermanent material things. And eventually we get trapped into the cycle of reincarnation, and people kind of get lower and lower down. Because the concept of reincarnation is that, you can be born into a higher or lower state, eventually to animals, and below that to, like, demons. And the idea with Buddha was Buddha and the Bodhisattvas was that they were able to achieve enlightenment, reject desire, and escape that. And, like, literally the term nirvana means, like, blowing out or extinguishing. And it feels like this kind of relates a lot to political discourse, where we just get into this rat race of debating the current issue, and we just become more and more debased as we debate over it. And people on the right especially can't realize, like, the right keeps losing on every single issue. And, like, people just become uglier and uglier. And it feels like, the only way you don't win this game by playing it, you win it by escaping the game,
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd agree with you. And I think, normally I think sort of putting stuff like religion above your involvement in politics, I mean, there's clearly, and it would seem to me that there are more people who obsessively follow politics than there are that obsessively follow their religion.
Politics has become religion for most people, and that's kind of the.
I mean, honestly, I don't think this has been the case for a long time, but I think that's where I was years ago now. Both when I was a BoomerCon and even when I stopped being a BoomerCon, I think that was more or less what was the case for me. So yeah, no, I mean, I get that, but with that said, what's before the Supreme Court right now with Roe, I think does have to change a bit of our political analysis, because I would, of course I believe that the conservative movement has been a massive failure for the most part, but if they actually do manage to overturn Roe v. Wade, then I think that's going to have to change our criticisms that we've had.
I mean, that's something.
That's like a very real possibility right now.
I mean, that's something I was actually going to say is, like, there's a few things that are the actual exception, because this is not me saying, oh, we should just, why don't we all just get along and move past right and left and, not involve ourselves in any political issues. No, that, I think that in terms of the actual culture wars, like, the things on gay marriage, since the right had already conceded no-fault divorce, birth control, and, and adultery and all of that, winning the fight over gay marriage for the left was super easy, and they love fighting culture wars. However, I think the issue of abortion, because abortion is so evil, and it seems like it is the one conservative issue that has actually, that conservatives have not consistently lost on, that there's actually been progress made towards the conservative end, at least in the United States, over the past several decades. And that, a genuine pro-life movement over the past 50 years has been built up from the ground up and has actually been incredibly productive. This is a battle, and this is a hill I think I am be happy to die on, because I think abortion is the one thing where it is so manifestly evil, the left really has a hard time with the optics, because literally all you'd have to show is what an abortion looks like, and nobody could be pro-choice for long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why they always have to use these ridiculous euphemisms.
They have to always
talk about.
Yeah, they have to.
Why they always want to talk about everything except actually abortion. Is because it's so obviously and on its face indefensible.
But I would go on to point out that
the most hilarious example of this is those videos of pro-choicers talking to children, and the children always have based reactions to it.
I mean, I would make the point that though in the broader scheme of things is that it should also be a rejection of the liberal democratic process, just because the fact that these issues were even ever up for debate in the first place shows that liberal democracy is a manifest failure to protect people's, dignity and rights. Because the idea of, the sanctity of human life, the fact that you could have just judges or people vote on whether or not people have, the basic dignity as being made by God, there's a manifest problem in that society or that government structure to begin with.
Yeah, I partially agree with that, but I feel like that seems a bit overly simplistic. Because, any country can legalize abortion. It's not something unique to democracy. I'd say it definitely debunks any idea that democracy has an inherent respect for human rights.
You can even include that about slavery, but
that the prevalence of abortion debunks the goodness of democracy.
What else? I'm sorry, I can't really think. I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah. Anything else you have to say? This is gonna be a short stream, but I don't think it's gonna be this short. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, no, I'm here.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm so sorry. It's on that. But yeah, it's just that we get so obsessed with this rat race of what side are you on in the Ukraine conflict, what side are you on BLM, and you just realize that the whole political system we have is designed, with mass politics, is designed to weaponize people's emotions rather than actually solving issues.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I actually, I just tweeted something about this yesterday. I said that that it's the duty of all Christians to engage in social justice. That's partially to sort of troll people who don't understand the correct definition of social justice. But more broadly, what I'm saying is it's the duty of Christians to help the poor. And that's definitely true. And I'm not saying lots of people do lots of different work like that. I'm not saying no one does that. But for a lot of people, I feel like we can implicitly get the we can sort of implicitly get the idea in our head that you don't really need to help the poor if you're advocating for the right political causes. I mean, left-wingers will explicitly make this point, that the only way to really bring about social change is by either electing the right people or by having a revolution. If you're, whether you're like a reformist leftist or like revolutionary leftist.
Yeah,
but that argue those are the only ways to make actual social change. So charity work and stuff like that is not is not really something you should even really do, because you're not helping, because you're not really trying to fix the system, and fixing the system is all that really matters. No, I mean, I don't think right-wingers really make that argument, but that is an argument some left-wingers will make, and I know hashtag not all left-wingers. I know there are some left-wingers that
they're all evil.
I'm not saying that no left-wingers do charity work. But still, it's definitely a common phenomenon for people to think that having the right political views is how you be a moral person, which is ridiculous and stupid.
I mean, I would say I'd have to. I mean, the thing is, like, genuine moral beliefs and political views can get kind of overlap. Now, I agree with you in principle, and the fact that, like, I think for people like us, for the based ones like us, I think a lot of the idea of traditionalism, or like why I will advocate for stuff like monarchy, is just because I feel like, again, back to the Buddhist analogy, is that the whole liberal democratic system and most modern political concepts in which the citizen is no longer, they're no longer subject to a ultimate sovereign and to God, but they are activists that are pawns used by political actors and manipulated. Is first off dehumanizing. It's kind of why I feel like just even the act of voting is kind of disgusting to me, because it feels like you're playing a part in this giant play that celebrates immorality and celebrates it. Voting to me just is not dignifying to the average person, whereas I feel like as a loyal subject of Her Majesty, saying "God save the Queen" is far more dignified than pulling a lever for the next criminal. But
yeah, no, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I don't support complete political abstinence. I think, and especially like I said, the Roe v. Wade stuff is making me rethink some of my political views in real time. But I never advocated complete political abstinence to begin with.
I think for me, it's that if there's things like abortion, or if it's something like the CRT, or things that will actively impact you, your family, and community's lives, like if you genuinely have the ability to, like, okay, I can stop teachers from grooming children into becoming trans, okay, yeah, I'd support that. But still, I think the fact that we even got there in the first place needs to get people on the right to start seriously questioning, the Constitution has clearly failed in protecting people at this point.
No, definitely. With how you're talking about centrists earlier, really the sort of fundamental problem with centrists, whether they're, the center-right ones or center-left ones, is that they basically just want society as it is today, with a few small tweaks, and they think that that's possible.
They want the 90s. And they just don't want that.
And the issue is, it's not just that there's really big problems with society today, though I, of course, think there are really big problems with society today. And even if you could have modern society with a few small tweaks, I don't think that would really be acceptable for fixing the greater problems we have. But the larger problem with that is that it's just not possible. You can't have the 90s back. The 90s were necessarily going to lead to the 2020s. It's not like, I don't know, if Bob Dole won a couple of elections, then we would have maintained perfect 90s free speech or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's also that
we never could have. We never could have stayed there.
I'm also thinking is that for me it's that the assumptions that were made in the 90s were just shown to be blatantly wrong. Like, the fact that, because remember reading about this. Did you ever hear about D.B. Cooper, the legend of it's a very famous kind of true crime story of a guy in the 1970s hijacked a plane and like asked for a bunch of money, got it, and then jumped out over the Pacific Northwest and was never seen again. And in conversations about that, it shows about how airline security was back pre 9/11 or pre 90s, about how generally it was assumed that the vast majority of hijackers, all they wanted was money or to get to a place. And so the general policy was you just comply with them and nobody will get hurt. And this kind of applies to the fact that in the 90s mindset, where people are just inherently going to be liberal and democratic and just need time to slide into that, you know, when apparently it was shown that, no, there are actually people that are so insane and so dedicated to a religious political ideology, they will do whatever it takes so they can slam planes into buildings and kill thousands of people, you know, clearly shows, yeah, no, people are not going to accept liberalism no matter what. And, like, fundamental assumptions about humanity are not true. And the whole point of, I think, the progressive movement of the past 20 years has been, you know, they're trying to essentially take control of humanity to get them to be liberal, but it's increasingly flying in the face of reality. Like, you know, they're trying to engineer gender into children. They're trying to engineer racial views because the fact that, you know, things on race and gender just are not holding up to reality. Is not or progressive values just don't seem to be holding up to reality, but they will do whatever it takes to try and obfuscate that and try and kind of artificially engineer society to make sure to adhere to progressivism, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
But the thing is that the thing is that I also like definitely sense a lot of anger in progressives because, like, you know, they all wanted we were supposed to be in the century where Star Trek becomes a reality. You know, it's like what the was it Jim Sterling or Movie Bob made the point. It's like, you know, I was supposed to be transferred into consciousness or being flying around on on the USS Enterprise, but we're talking about the working class now, and like these people are so angry that they're not getting gay space communism. They're going to be willing to burn half of the world down if they can't have their way.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, that is, you know, I don't think there's anything really novel that I'm saying here, but that is a large part of why they have to, constantly be focusing on the social issues, is because the sort of broader economic, dream, the Star Trek stuff, the post-scarcity world, all of those things just aren't coming true. So as long as they don't come true, they need to use these social issues as a way to sort of appease the left.
Yeah, it's the fact that, like, because especially with inflation now, is like people, and you know, this coming generation is noticeably poorer and less happy. Like it's not just economics, but it's like drug use, suicide rates, and all these like mounting social issues, and like, you know, people just becoming detached from society writ large. You know, this is just not explainable under progressivism. Like, they've been in control for 50, 60, 70 years, and things have actually been getting worse. Like, if you ask most leftists, like, have race relations actually gotten any better for them? And it's like, you know, you have to...
I mean, I know explicitly what they'll say is that white supremacy is just as bad today as it was in the 1950s. We're just better at hiding it now.
And it kind of raises the point of, like, because I think implicitly they know that at no point could they ever say that any even marginal level of progress can be made, because the whole the whole narrative is built on the fact that we always have like an infinite ways to go to dismantle white supremacist systems, and it does make you question, though. Like, you could ask them, okay, so why is it that no matter how many laws you pass, no matter what you do, it seems racism never actually gets any better, according to them?
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is going to be a short stream, but yeah, somebody in the chat said, you will own nothing and be happy. And it's like, you just have to start asking. And this kind of brings me back to the point of, like,
well,
you know...
Is that the peak Buddhism, that we have complete detachment from worldly goods by owning nothing and being...
But the thing is, their owning nothing is, no, you're just going to be renting out a pod, and you're going to... And, like, the thing with porn is there's a phrase that says... If you're not paying for something, then you are the product, and that's very true with pornography, right? And so it's like, you're addicted to, you're going to be eating. It's like, there's a difference between, again, I don't believe in Buddhism, but I at least have respect for, like, a Buddhist monk that's been sitting in a mountain in Tibet for 50 years. Okay, I think he might know at least something about philosophy or meditation or life or whatever. But, a bug man that's just endlessly consuming next Marvel product. No, I don't think he knows anything about happiness. But the broader point is that, a trap that conservatives fall into is the fact that the left loves having these constant debates over current issue, as opposed to having to increasingly face the fact that their policies are not making people happy. And and again, I think abortion is, abortion and a couple of other things are exceptions that I think conservatives, people on the right, do need to engage with. It's kind of like, I made this comparison on Twitter that essentially this is like the Battle of Verdun, in which the idea is that the French have no choice but to defend this hill, and, they have to defend this. And I'm thinking, yeah, I agree that this is something that this is a hill I'd be happy to die on, is the issue of abortion. And same thing with, those threats of people that are going to, like, storm or protest Catholic churches today. I basically said, you know what, like, I do not advocate for violence. Just Susan Wikipedia, don't worry, I do not advocate for violence, but I would say, I will happily go to jail to protect the Eucharist and to protect churches. But the broader point, though, is that we have the opportunity to actually start advocating the fact that, look, under leftism, you're going to be pod people, and you're going to eat bugs, and you're not going to have any meaningful human relationships or own anything. Is that really what you want in the future, as opposed to having a different idea, a different set of values that actually could lead people to be happy? Because the thing is, Islam does that. That's why do you think Islam is so popular? Because it has a consistent worldview, and people are presumably happier under Islam than, like, bugman liberalism. Or at least they have a more fulfilled spiritual life. And I'm thinking people on the right... Now, the obvious answer is, we want people to become Christian again, but I think we have to not so much package it, but you know what I mean, right? It's like offer a better way that maybe isn't explicitly Christian, but is at least Western and ultimately Christian.
No, I don't know, that sounds pretty cringe to me. They should just become Christians.
Sure, but...
I know. Maybe I'm too extreme in this. Okay, so I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, if I was in, if I was in, like, Estonia or something, which is like the most irreligious country on earth, I think, or at least one of the most. If I was trying to run a political movement there, I wouldn't make an explicitly Christian political movement. And for that matter, in Canada, which is a bit more religious than Estonia, but still. I would not, if I was trying to run a political movement, I wouldn't make an explicitly Christian political movement. But I don't know, anything I'm going to be involved in, I'm not, like, trying to win office, I'm not trying to do anything like that. So anything I'm involved in, I'm not really willing to do it without Catholicism, really Catholicism specifically. I know a lot of people don't believe me on this. I'm extremely ecumenical. I love Protestants and EOs. I really do. But still, if I'm going to be running a movement, I don't run a movement. But if I were, or if I would be like, if I was going to start a local group trying to do something, it would have to be an explicitly Christian group.
No,
and probably an explicitly Catholic.
And I agree with that. I think my point, though, is more that people in the West are so stupid. This is just going to be me being completely blatant about this, but is that people are so stupid and, like, kind of poisoned by progressivism that, like, a lot of Christian concepts they can't understand, and you kind of have to lead them into it. Like, you have to, like...
yeah, so, I agree with you on that.
You have to convince them that life...
That sort of trying to present truths of Christianity in an initially sort of secular fashion.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Of dragging them in. For all his faults, I know a lot of people who became a Christian or came back to Christianity from Jordan B. Peterson.
Yes.
And I think he was very successful.
I mean, I would kind of point out, like, the fact that the most popular show in the world on television in the 1950s was Archbishop Fulton Sheen's show, and it was called Life is Worth Living. And I think just, like, starting the conversation with that, and, like, not on base politics, or not immediately proselytizing, like, basically saying, look, do you really think that the worldview the left is offering you is going to make you happy? And anybody just can look around and say, no, things have actually just been getting worse, not just materially, but I guess in a spiritual sense, just of people's lives. Because, like, you just see people kind of wandering around. Like, have you noticed this when you, in real life, like, so many people I've just been noticing just have, like, this dead look in their eyes, especially young people. Like you haven't, like, I do not watch TikTok, but, like, I've seen just so many, like, stuff on, like, people from TikTok that kind of leaks over into Twitter. Everyone just kind of looks like they're just, like, jittering around and have, like, dead eyes. And you're just thinking, is this really all life is? Is this really all there is porn, Marvel movies, and, bug burgers and living in a pod? Is this really all you want in your life?
I don't know if I can really comment on the state of people's eyes. But at the very least,
they're the window to the soul, brother.
Yeah, no, but I definitely agree that I don't think the sort of so I do want to distinguish between leftism and the sort of, like, centrist consumerism, because I know, like, any, like, serious dedicated leftist would say that, like, Marvel movies and porn is
classical Marxists. They hate that. Like, even back in, like, the Frankfurt School, they hated, like, the rise of the radio or television and jazz music. But still, like...
So, with that said, I definitely think, someone like Bosch is not a real leftist. And I'm sure he is far more familiar with leftist literature than I am. I don't care. He's wrong and I'm right. But yeah, no. So, but yes. So I definitely don't think this sort of lifestyle that we're sold is fulfilling. In fact, I'm confident that's true. And I'm confident that people are not really happy with that.
The problem is that they just haven't heard. There hasn't been a coherent enough response of, here's a better way from the right.
Yeah,
especially with the rise of...
He has incredibly cringe politics, but he uses a phrase I really like, Andrew Klavan. On his weekly mailbag, he always introduces it by saying, my answers are 100% guaranteed correct, and they will change your life, maybe even for the better. The joke there being that when you hear that your life could be changed, your automatic assumption is that it's for the better, is what you're assuming the person is saying.
Mm-hmm.
But he says they're guaranteed to change your life, maybe even for the better. The joke being that it could just as easily change your life for the worse as for the better. But I think that is actually sort of getting at a real profound point. That we realize implicitly the brokenness in our own lives, and we all, whether or not you're Christian, whether or not anything, we realize the reality of original sin, and that what we're living right now isn't really what we're meant to live.
Yeah, and again, like, to move it back to Buddhism, and it kind of goes into the primary reason why I am not Buddhist, but I think Buddhists and Christians, we can understand, like, we would agree in the sense of, like, desire for just purely material things does not lead to happiness. In fact, it leads to misery. However, like, I think it's like Buddhism says to desire nothing, whereas Christianity says desire God because God desires you. And I think, that's the point, is it's not just getting out of, like, the same political rat race of, well, this is my view on the current thing, this is my view on the current thing, and then, you take out it's the meme where, the corporate overlord takes the chip out of the NPC that says, Black Lives Matter, and inserts the one that says Ukraine, and now they take out the one that says Ukraine and puts in the one that says Roe v. Wade. And it's more just that any right-wing movement, and I guess this is kind of where we can start wrapping it up, because I didn't intend this to be a long stream, because this was originally just planned to be a short video. I just kind of wanted someone to bounce it off of. But it's that, it's just that, our opportunity, especially as society kind of gets hollowed out, and I'm not saying that, we should celebrate that, but, endless, autistically reeing about the Constitution and individual liberty and capitalism against socialism neither is that effective at, like, convincing people, but nor is it what people need to hear. What people need to hear is we have a genuine, authentic, sincere way of living that is actually fulfilling and will make you happy. Not in the sense of, this is a cult that this is all you need, but at least, genuinely pointing to the fact that there are, more transient, there are more permanent things than Marvel movies and supporting the current thing, Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, honestly, that's about it. That's all. Sorry if this was a bit rambly for the people watching, but I do want to thank you, Settler, for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. It was,
do you have
really enjoyable? I think I think you made your point pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I am a little disappointed in you, though, that you did not have a stream titled "Is Elon Musk Based?" because you had the perfect opportunity a couple weeks ago.
No, I have not done that. I don't know. I suppose that still is a possibility. I actually was just thinking of. I just recorded a video yesterday. It will be out on Monday because I prefer to release videos on weekdays.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I have not been making videos as much as I should. But yeah, I was thinking about for my next video, doing a video on the question, did Sargon win? Because I know there's been like some memes circulating Twitter saying that Elon Musk buying Twitter is proof that actually Sargon has fooled us all and classical liberalism has won the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought you were gonna bring it up because of Gamergate, because I'm old enough to still remember when that was a thing, and that kind of brought Sargon into the forefront, and it's just
I mean I actually I had been into politics prior to Gamergate starting. But I didn't really know about Gamergate until after it was basically already finished.
Yeah, I was kind of similar with that, too. I just kind of knew the basics of what was happening. I remember I saw an Anita Sarkeesian video back in, like, early 2013, and I just said, wow, this woman's an idiot.
I remember having seen the original, or I didn't watch the original Tropes versus Women video, but I remember when it came out, seeing people talking about it, and I didn't,
They talked about it, they had people... They had people talk about it at college. At my college, they had like presentation about it that I had to go to for one of my classes. And literally, you had one guy who was just like a gamer guy, a gamer dude, just debunking all of her points with facts and logic. And then like this old woman came up and she was like on her side, and she basically said, "I don't play any video games, and I didn't even watch the video, but I'm still going to explain why I think video games are sexist." But
well, I actually have to take Anita Sarkeesian's side and say that I think she was basically right about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been meaning to do either a stream or a video on this. What I really need to do is go through the original like Sargon and Thunderfoot and videos from those types of people about this stuff. I haven't done that, but I don't remember don't remember I don't remember that stuff well enough, so I need to rewatch those old videos. But from what I remember, or I mean from what I do remember from the Anita Sarkeesian video, because I did rewatch it a couple months ago, at least that original Tropes versus Women video, I rewatched that. And yeah, I mean, I basically think what she was arguing is, I mean, obviously, do I think it's sexist? No, because sexist is a moral claim that it's like unjust discrimination against women, or it's like violence against women, or something like that. Obviously, I don't think I don't think video games perpetuate those types of things. But what is she really trying to say? What she's really trying to say is that video games promote right-wing messages, and I think that's just obviously true. That like the Mario saving the princess is it like, again, is it sexist, as in is it like like harmful to women? No, obviously not. Is it like in an unjust way discriminating against women? No, obviously not. But is it a right-wing message that is directly contrary to her feminist view of how men and women should interact? Yes, obviously that I don't know how that's even up to debate.
I mean, it's weird because you also have tons and tons of a lot of more recent games coming out that are, I mean, are they even that recent anymore? Because like that are very explicitly left-wing, because BioShock Infinite is literally just, old Americana is all evil because racism was a thing, and that means it's perfectly acceptable.
The left has always, I'm sure the people who make video games have always been predominantly left-wingers. Certainly it's the case now, and there's tons of left-wing messaging. I mean, certainly on the point of Gamergate, I don't know how you could possibly argue Sargon won. I think it's very clear that that there was a total defeat for the anti-SJW.
I mean, the most you could say is that Sargon prevented, and Gamergate, it prevented Anita Sarkeesian and a lot of those people. I mean, on the surface level, a whole bunch of gaming journalist outlets had to update their ethics policies, and also just they kind of all self-sabotage in the next couple of years anyways, because literally nobody, because there's the whole meme of nobody likes game journalists because they don't actually know anything about video games, and I can say that's completely true. As somebody who for a couple months back in 2017, I worked as a games journalist, and I literally had to make an article talk about, here are the top 10 games that are like Dark Souls, and that just became the huge meme of that year, was like, oh, every game that is even slightly difficult is just like Dark Souls. But yeah, I would say though, it's like her thing about sexism and all that is like, okay, for anything she could say about video games is 100 times more true for pornography, and she never said a thing about that. So she's like, oh,
yeah, certainly. I mean,
she's like, oh, this video game.
On one hand, I don't really like the focus from some of the anti-porn advocates on sort of like feminist arguments for why porn is bad. Not even that I think those arguments are strictly speaking wrong. I mean, does porn harm women in a unique way? I think that's obviously true. And I mean, I think it's fine to point out that that things can harm women in a unique way. I don't think there's anything feminist about saying that the way that porn harms women is different from the way that porn harms men. But with that said, I feel like what you get from some of the mainstream conservative anti-porn advocates is it's not just saying that like porn harms women in a unique way. It's very specifically using feminist arguments, not just pro-women arguments, but very specifically feminist arguments, like identifying this as the patriarchy and stuff like that. And I don't like using those arguments because I think that necessarily reinforces the feminist worldview, even if you're trying to sort of control them.
Yeah, because again, the kind of point we have is that us being based enlightened people, is that we're at least able to think outside of a materialist framework. And yes, Distributus is in the chat. How's it going, Dave? We should stream more. I just gotta find a time. But yes, so is there anything else? Thank you for coming on. These are just some ideas I want to get off my chest. And though I think I definitely need to make more at least edited videos, because just showing my video on HP Lovecraft did way better than any video I've done recently. And the only difference is that video I actually took the time to edit it in Audacity and write up a script.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I really I mean, as I think we both have expressed, the focusing on explicitly political stuff kind of sucks. So it is really cool to see stuff that deals with like fiction and culture.
That's why, like, if there's a movie review I want to do at some point, because I know I just reviewed The Northman, but I think I'm going to save it for June 15th, because that's the anniversary of the battle. As I recently, on my Discord, we did movie night. And have you ever seen the 1970 movie Waterloo?
No, I haven't.
It is amazing. It is an amazing movie. If nothing else, in the fact that they have 16,000 extras to play all the soldiers for the battle. But yes, I think I'd like to review that, and there's a few other things I'd like to get into. I do want to just kind of reform some stuff on my channel and like get back to learning how to edit videos, just because it's been a while and I'm out of practice. But I think we managed to salvage just some of those weird ideas I've been having. Thank you so much for coming on, and everybody, remember always and always to subscribe to Settlers Lament.
Yeah, it's I am not asking, I am demanding.
Yes.
I'm world famous. Do you think you have an option here?
You have
Someone was just saying on Twitter the other day that they met a 70-year-old guy at their church who watches Settlers Lament.
You have more.
You saying that you have better judgment than a 70-year-old guy at that dude's church?
The boomer is based, but yeah, you even have. Yeah, I haven't been able to congratulate you, but yeah, you have more. You have more subscribers than me now. Like, and yeah, that makes me utterly furious, so I'm just gonna have to start making content again. I do want to do more just streaming, either on Twitch or on here. I think I will also have to ultimately maybe start up my Patreon again, or try and monetize videos, or set up super chats, because thanks to Joe Biden, I'm financially stable right now, but money is getting a little tighter. And if I could get a little extra income at some point, I do definitely plan on actually, improving the giving you some quality content. But yes, anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Have a blessed Sunday, and thank you once again to Settlers Lament.